This episode of Auto Dealer Live is brought to you by TrueCar.
Turn on that radio and back here. The cops ain't likely to catch up with us, not tonight. So we can all be quiet and peaceable and listen to the music.
Hey, man, what's up, T?
What up, Dave Villa?
What up, T? Elwell?
Hey. That's right. We are back.
It's that time again.
It's that time again. Hat tip, Chris Fritcher. That's Fritcher's tagline. So what we got going on today, Dave? I heard something about a BDC, something about a boardroom. I don't know if these things are connected.
You're
I don't
fired.
know if there's... Oh, it's like... That's here. You see what he's doing, folks? He's giving you little hints. Guess who we have on the show today, huh? He said you're fired. We said boardroom. Anything? No? Well, it's not going to happen anyway. But
We have Deanold Tramp.
we have Ronald Tramp here. Ronald, make the car business great again. Ronald Tramp. It's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be a show, man. It's going to be a show, and we have the BDC Boardroom Part 3. We started this a couple of years ago with with one of our sponsors and friends and regular contributor. Oh, I got some coffee here, man. What's up, brother? Oh, Shannon. Shout out to my assistant. She put some. I'm all jacked up here, dude. We got to get like this cord is.
I got no ears.
All discombobulated.
I got no ears. I think
I can hear,
disconnected
but
mine.
cord's in my way. So we started a couple years ago, and with BDC Boardroom with one of our friends. One of our sponsors, Alan Ram.
Okay.
And it was started because a couple of years ago when Sean V. Bradley of Dealer Synergy and Alan Ram of Proactive Training Solutions just really disagreed with the fundamental concept of the BDC discussion. They basically, one was left and one was right.
Right.
You know, whatever side you want to say is which. And so Sean... really discussing. He's a trainer, and he says, "Hey, you know what? Bring in a separate layer of business development on top of your sales force. Have everything filter through this BDC, handle all the calls and so forth." And Alan, Alan, you spend a lot of time, more time with Alan than you have probably with Sean, because since then Alan's become a sponsor, Alan's become a regular guest and so forth. And it was said, by a panel of 3 dealers that we had on the show, it was said that I can't, you throw me off on that, man.
He can't.
Yeah, I'm like,
Here, read this
I'm
and then
like,
talk at the same time.
What's that? Donald Trump? What? No, I'm just kidding. So back in the day,
Yeah, you're talking about how
back
Sean
in the
Bra-
day,
when I was a teenager, before I had status, and
Mom's
before
spaghetti.
I had a pager. All right.
you got one opportunity. It's your chance.
What are you
I don't
talking
know, man.
about? You're talking about Sean Bradley, and you're talking about Alan Ram back in the day.
Yeah, so Sean Bradley, had this. His whole training was based on having a layer, having a BDC on top of the sales force. Alan, insisted, look, you don't need this. Why? And and he had a good point. I mean, and they debated this thing out for an entire 45 minutes. I mean, Dave Cribbs was the host, co-host, and he and I handled this, and it was pretty hectic, man, going up to this time frame. I mean, they were going at it. You can actually Google the debate between Sean V. Bradley and Alan Ram today.
Yeah,
Watch it. You can watch. Oh man, it was crazy. And here's what happened. The deal is they debated on the fact of like, look, by the way, it was very civil when they got on the show. It was really civil. They disagreed, but it was civil and it was really good, and it was full of rich content. But here's the premise. So, and we're not going to talk about that today, but there's going to be elements of that because we kind of moved beyond that. But have we? And so Alan's beef was, look, why train another layer of people add to your payroll. Obviously they got to make some money on top of just payroll. So, add to the fact that there's going to be splits on commission and things of that nature. Why add this group of people to do what this group of people over here can already do? And it was almost like it was forced to say dealers don't want to retrain their salespeople. They don't want to lose the sacred cow. We've had a ton of shows since then about that kind of concept. So we have to hire this other group of people because it needs to be done, and they're not going to do it otherwise. So it was almost like, Alan was right. Sean's product, though, is valid because, so it was, anyway, group of panel of 3 dealers after voted Alan the winner, and all hell broke loose on after that.
I think you can make arguments on both sides, and I think that's what that's a lot of times what evolves on the show. That discussions evolved into, people have very strong opinions, and they some are pro this, and some
I
are
just threw you off. I'm like Ezra Thomas, like, duh. Go ahead.
Duh.
While I read, you talk so I can actually read what
some things are like with the dealers, and they do the thing, and then some do other things, and then there's some do not like those things. You get it? No, what I was going to say was, before I was so rudely, stupidly interrupted by Ezra, I'll blame it on you. Yeah, I'll blame it on you, bro. I'm going to blame it on him?
I'm the one that told him to interrupt. Calm down.
All right, relax yourself. So what I'm saying is people just have very strong opinions. There's valid points on both sides of the equation, and that's what we're here to talk about.
Yeah.
That's what this whole thing is about. There's going to be a ding-ding, like straight up Apollo Creed in the ring with Rocky at the end of, I don't know, the second one, right? He's like, ding-ding, and he does that. He puts his mouthpiece in, and he's like, ding-ding, and they do it. And it stops till the next one. And then it picks up the next time.
Yeah. We got to stop like smoking crack or whatever we're doing before the show because, the beginning of these things are kind of getting off hand a little bit,
I don't know what they resembled before, but I know right now
they resembled a show.
Oh, okay. There was some content.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So what would you say it's
pretty
resembling now?
It's good, man. It's a better show.
It's a better show. So it still resembles a show. That's all we can do. Hey,
check this out, T.
What's
we got Gary V. Listen to this. If you don't get Dealer Solutions Magazine every once in a while, this is our in-house magazine here, Dealer Solutions Magazine. Ezra, can you pull it up towards the camera a little bit?
Ezra, do something. Thank you, buddy.
See, there's Dealer Solutions Magazine.
Gary V.
This is our 22nd edition, a monthly edition. So this is the 2-year magazine. It's full of content. Here's the deal, man. I mean, this cost me money, okay? So this isn't something we make money on. And so this costs money, but we put this out. It goes out to 12,000 dealer principals and general managers, and then also automotive professionals every month. This month, we had Gary V on the cover, and also he was a featured article inside. Thank you, Gary V, for being on the magazine cover. So 2 things. If you want to get this magazine, make sure that you tweet out and then just to hashtag Auto Dealer Live and say I want to get Dealer Solutions Magazine. They'll get it to the magazine team, and we'll get you on the list, and it's free.
I would say there might be a chance you're already getting at the dealership. Maybe you don't even know about it, but that's something that IPD puts out as a tribute to the business. That's something we, this show and even our product that we sell in that magazine, it's all out of respect for the business that we serve. And I think people, the auto business. I think people don't even know that, but there's more than just us trying to get a check for what we do. It goes a lot deeper than that, and we're looking to see people succeed and do well. And Arnold said it was at the end of Rocky 3, and I think I'm wrong, Arnold. I think it was the end of Rocky 2 because Rocky 3 is when Creed got killed, right?
I don't know, man.
I think
there's so many dang Rocky movies
by the Russians.
There's so many. They're all good, but there's so many Rocky movies. No, Russian was 4. Mr. T was 3.
Shut up, Kevin.
Mr. T was 3. Remember Mr. T in the Rocky?
Mr. T was 3. So was Apollo still alive in 3?
Yeah, because he got killed in 4.
It was 4. It was the Russian who killed him.
No, they resurrected him in 3, and then he got killed again in 4.
Oh,
he died. He died of AIDS in 2, was resurrected in 3, and then got killed in 4 by the Russian.
Lot of see, people don't even know the backstories of that stuff.
Yeah, Putin punched him.
Putin. It would have been Gorbachev then. Stupid.
Yes, it would have been. Yes.
So we
That's how he got that little birthmark on his forehead, because before he knocked Creed out, Creed slapped him in the forehead.
Damage.
Hey,
can I say about
man.
Can I hashtag Auto Tier Live, please? It seems like we're getting a lot of Twitter activity. Seems like a lot of people making fun of me already. So I don't know why you think it's okay. Let me tell you what. If I see you, little whoever you are, if I see you in person, let me tell you, something might happen. I'm pretty big. I don't know if you know. I'm a big guy. Yeah. But you should tweet us using the hashtag Auto Dealer Live. And when you hashtag, if you're doing like voice to text, make sure you don't say #BDC or something to that effect. I saw somebody, Curtis Snyder, God bless you, buddy. It looked like he must have done voice to text because it's all one word, #BDC spelled out. So I think he meant to hashtag BDC, and unfortunately it did not work out in your favor. But
here we are talking about it.
See?
So it did.
Or did you mean to do that, you crazy genius, you? Huh?
Hey, real quick, I want to say we're going to go to commercial break, and we're going to come back with our BDC Boardroom panel. You don't want to miss it. We've got a couple of first-timers on the show today. We got 2 general managers of 2 different dealerships, obviously, that have never been on the show before. We have 2 incredible gentlemen that are going to be coming on for our second segment today. We also have a director of dealer strategy, and she is with a big dealer group as well. And then we have a former e-commerce director with Berkshire Hathaway. So we've got some dealers on the show today. The next up, and speaking of the next up, I want you to check out the brand new logo for our man Clint Burns. What's up, Clint Burns?
What's up, Clint?
Clint to the Burns. I saw Clint Burns took a picture with Grant this past Monday at the Rockstar Auto Conference. Matt Koenig, I heard that thing went off the chart, man. And sorry I couldn't be with you. Mike and I were planning on going up there. Had something going on at the had a conference going on at the church we had that we already were part of, being part of the leadership there. So, but I heard it went off well. So Clint Burns, man, with the next up, look at that logo. That logo is freaking.
It's tight.
That's tighter than
you're tight, you whiteys. Let's say it. We'll put it out there.
Hey, and listen, also make sure you check out at NADA next week. Clint Burns and the crew, they're going to be giving away a Louis Vuitton.
Louis V.
They're going to be giving away Louis V at their booth. Go check them out. That's the next up. So
Louis
speaking of the next,
Louis V what?
Purse, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I believe that's what. You know what? I don't have. This is not my phone. Ezra, is this your phone? So it's locked, isn't it? Yep, it's locked. I think it's a purse.
Okay.
Hey, do me a favor. Next up, tweet out, and we'll make sure we retweet it. What kind of Louis Vuitton item that you'll be giving out at NADA? Go ahead.
I got nothing. I have nothing to add to that.
Huh?
I was gonna say if you're a dude, hey, guess what? Your
Louis
wife likes
Vuitton.
the purse.
That's right,
or,
man. Get some
guess
points,
what?
brother.
Craigslist. You know, a few bills. This is legit.
Yeah.
Little certificate of
Shoot,
authenticity.
a few bills. I think a Louis Vuitton, man. Those things are pretty.
If you want to move it quick, you sell it for a few bills on Craigslist. I'm just saying.
Hey, the next up, speaking of the next up is the BDC Boardroom Part 3 panel. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
We'll be back.
And
I must break you.
Also, we'll be back.
I must break you.
See.
Go with the pros who know. Your dealership wouldn't trust its vehicles in the hands of an uncertified technician. So why trust its finances with accounting firms that don't know your business? Rosenfield & Company knows the automotive industry and has been serving dealerships like yours for over 20 years. We take pride in helping our clients grow from single-point stores to some of the largest dealer groups in the country. We are more than just your accountants. Our team can guide you through mergers and acquisitions, operational reviews, succession planning, and more. Visit us on the web for more information at www.rosenfieldandco.com.
Jason Rice from Lot Pop, and let me tell you what we do to help dealerships increase used car sales 20 to 30% in gross in volume. 3 areas we focus on: trend reports. We look at weekly trends that no one else is trending to make adjustments on our inventory. 2 is we do weekly review calls to review those trends, but also we dig through every car that needs to be price adjusted to increase the searches. And 3, we do a virtual lot walk, make sure every car is standing tall in line, and make sure we don't have bad photos like these. Check out our website, lotpop.com. our blog at automotiverevolution.com, and our weekly video tips at increaseturn.com. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Alan Ram, president and founder of Alan Ram's Proactive Training Solutions. Let's face it, good managers are defined not by what they do when they have a showroom full of customers, but more by what they do when there are no customers in the showroom. In 2015, whether you like it or not, the car business is all about conversion of opportunities and driving traffic. All those great closers and desk people are not doing you a whole lot of good if your dealership is not converting effectively on the telephone and internet. As an owner or dealer, when you see 5 salespeople standing by the front door doing nothing, don't kid yourself. Your dealership is not being effectively managed. Management by Fire is a 2.5-day intensive course conducted entirely by me that teaches managers how to effectively manage in today's automotive industry. Simple processes for driving high-quality traffic. For more information on upcoming events, please call my team at 866-996-4665. Once again, 866-996-4665. Thank you.
Service Group has over 40 years of experience empowering dealerships to grow profits, develop personnel, and provide their customers with a high level of service. We offer high-quality products, world-class servicing, and innovative training and technology. Meet our team, first-class trainers, the best account managers, and an executive team that's second to none.
This is your Service Group team. We look forward to giving your people the power to perform.
Max Profit Selling, an easy-to-follow, buyer-friendly sales process that will give you the tools, skills, and confidence to consistently sell premium vehicles to delighted buyers.
To learn more about selling the way your customers prefer to buy, please visit nopressureselling.com or call 1-800-515-0034.
So, you get your headset on time, Tommy?
This hair, you know how long it takes me to do my hair? yeah, like 3 minutes. So I want to make sure I keep it coiffed as long as I can before I got to put this stupid headset back on. Coiffed.
Yes, next week we will be wearing earbuds or something different.
Next week we're going to do something different. That's awesome. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Hey, all right, so by the way, next up to be given away, it's not only a purse for the ladies, but it's a wallet. I'm assuming that yes, it's a men's wallet. A men's, come on, man, see? It's a man's world.
It's a man's world.
All right, without further ado, we want to go ahead and get to the next up on Auto Dealer Live today. This is BDC Boardroom Part 3. And we have on our incredible, talented, dynamic, freaking wonderful panel today. We have Chris Bennett, General Manager at Nissan Fort Lauderdale. We have Jennifer Briggs, no stranger to Auto Dealer Live. She's the Director of Dealer Strategy for Zemont Auto, part of the Cardinale Automotive Group. We have Senor Ricky Lopez, Vice President of Ross Advisors and Ross Hispanic, formerly e-commerce director for Berkshire Hathaway. That's Warren Buffett, y'all.
He's very wealthy.
Yes. And so Ricky, was making too much money there. Say, hey, listen, Warren, I'm going to have to move on down the road. We got Gus DeLeon. He is the sales director at Toyota FAR in Texas. Guys, we're glad to have you on our BDC Boardroom panel today. I hope you guys are having a great week so far. And want to jump right into kicking this thing off. And, I don't know a better way to do it than to get the person who is the pot stirrer of all pots, Jennifer Briggs. Jennifer knew I was going to go to her first with that. So, Jennifer, here's the deal. If you watched your video, I know you, okay? So I've seen you do that in person, okay? But when you know something, when you know that you know that you know something, nobody can talk you out of it, Jen, okay? Your video itself just said, you know what? I'm gonna train you people.
School you, I think.
I'm gonna school you guys. I'm gonna train you and educate you guys on BDC, and I got the real answers. Jen, here's the deal. I want to go ahead and put this thing out there, and I want to start it by saying, okay, and this is not what we're going to talk about, but I gotta address it. I gotta close the loop on it. I mean, Jen, do we need to teach our salespeople how to also be business development professionals? Do they need to be able to do this? Or should we, because they can't, should we bring in this group of people, add this overhead to, and by the way, it causes, in some dealers' opinion, a management void where now I've got to bring someone in that probably doesn't know what they're doing, to manage this extra group of people. How do we do this thing at a dealership, Jen?
Sure. Right?
Start over one more time. Your voice cut out. Now you're on. Go ahead.
Okay. That's going to depend on the store. Can you hear me? Are we good?
We can hear you.
Okay, perfect. There's no one-size-fits-all answer. Should the sales reps be able to do this? Yes. But we have created an environment where we're not training them to do that. Mm-hmm. We don't focus on that. We focus on our salespeople, get out there, get on the porch, catch fresh up. We as dealers are not teaching them to grow their own business and to develop that on their own. If we're not going to invest the training, or we don't have that management that we need on the floor, then the BDC is the alternative that some dealers have. Is it right for everyone? No. At Cardinelli Automotive, we don't have a BDC. We are cradle to grave internet sales. But a lot of dealers that I work with have a BDC, and I happen to be known for creating very successful BDCs. So I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all answer. Mm-hmm. I do think we need to teach every person in a dealership how to develop business.
Okay, so I'm going to ask this question then. Gus, I'm going to ask you this question. And Jen, we're going to be right down the middle of the day, okay? So I love you, and, I love everybody that comes on the show. But I'm going to try to be, it's against my nature, actually, to be kind of like down the middle because, I'm a nice guy. But I want to ask this. Gus, you're a dealer.
Yeah.
Is the answer that Jen just gave kind of a politically correct answer that, hey, Dave, I don't agree with the fact that salespeople shouldn't be able to do this, but hey, I train dealers on BDCs, and so I love making the money, and I love helping them, and I love doing that. And I know Jen's shaking her head no, but I know it's not about the money, but there's a need for me. Look, I'm glad dealers don't know how to market, like I do. Look, I'm glad they do. If I owned a dealership, I might do some things myself.
1 second, though. I don't get paid to train dealers on BDC.
Okay.
I help dealers put together whatever strategy is best for them. I don't get paid to train on BDC at all. What I'm saying is I'm sick and tired of people saying that what works for one dealer should work for every dealer. You have to customize that strategy. I am not saying do a BDC because I get paid for that.
Okay.
I'm saying as a dealer, look at the culture of your store and decide what's best for you. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, but okay. Now I understand that, and that I'll give you then. So I didn't know, and that's what it kind of sounded like. Maybe that, hey, you know what? I kind of see this point, but okay. So Gus, let me ask you this, and somebody said exactly. Sure. But let me ask you a question. I hear the culture thing, okay, and I get that. I believe in culture. I have a training I do on culture shock, and I'm speaking a lot of places talking about that culture. I get it, but to me, that's not a culture thing. To me, that's like. To me, what's not culture about teaching our salespeople, I guess let me ask you this. What people that are in sales at a dealership are disqualified or are excused from not learning how to handle calls in a form and fashion of a BDC? I guess what people? Like what people are excused from that, I guess I should say. Where does the culture come in?
Not a single one. Sure, I'm about culture, and Jay Briggs, you're right. Some dealerships it's one way, some it's another. But everybody's going to have to learn about follow-up. Everybody's got to know about the ability to take calls or make calls and set the appointments. And again, I've never been of the culture to have someone come in outside and manage it, or a BDC that just makes the phone calls. No, not even. What's the statistic? How many salespeople follow up?
Like a lot. I think
48. I think it's like, it's probably more. 48 is probably an old stat, but everybody's got to be doing that follow up. Yes, fresh up, I'm with you, but how many times do they close on the first up? They don't. We know that it's getting, 1.4 people visit a dealership before they buy the car. Well, I don't know how true that is, but I do know this: everybody's going to have to follow up, whether they just say hi, if it's a service customer or whoever it is. They're going to have to follow up again and again and again to either develop that relationship where they'll eventually buy from you, or you be the guy that's on the forefront of their mind. So when it comes to BDC, everybody's gonna. That's more of a culture for sales, not so much a dealer specific. But everybody's gonna have to be drinking the BDC Kool-Aid. I've always been a big fan of BDC, and every sales pro that their numbers start going up, what do you think they do more of? Start taking more ups or making more calls?
Before Tommy goes to Chris and Ricky here, Jen, I'm gonna give you another chance to kind of piggyback on this. I mean, because let's think about this for a second. Okay, what Gus just said, not a single one. So here's my question, and I now, if I ask the question, do I see a need out of the 20,000 roughly franchise dealerships, dealerships in the United States, that spend money on advertising and training and things of that nature? Okay, so do I see a need for companies that do that? Yes. Because that wasn't my question. My question really was, so is it a culture thing, or is it more like the companies that are selling BDC training or going and saying, hey, I'm going to help you hire a layer of BDC people? Are they really in a BDC staffing organization? And are they really hiring future salespeople that will outlast the old salespeople? And if that's the case, shouldn't we shoot some of the old salespeople? Or why can't they learn? I mean, my freaking 72-year-old father-in-law texts me, you know what I mean? And he's on social media. He emails me all the time. So that's my question. And then I'll let Tommy.
I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm 100% with you. And like I said, we just help dealers, but there are staffing agencies, and it's not just the agencies or the BDC companies that are coming in to train. The OEMs are forcing this on dealers as well. You got to realize that. General Motors is telling you have to have a BDC.
Right.
And you're 100% right. It should be the latter. It should be that you are training the next generation of sales. My very first BDC internet sales department I ever ran, 50% of the people stayed in my call center, 50% flipped out to the sales floor, knowing how to prospect, how to cold call, how to mine, how to generate business for themselves. So it should be a training ground for the sales force of the future. It should be, like David Cannon has said, business development dealership.
That's good.
Exactly.
I like that.
So, Mr. Chris Bennett, you are with us, correct, sir?
Yes.
Yeah, we got to correct one thing though. I'm not from Florida. I don't know where you got that from. I'm from.
You want to be from Florida, though, don't you?
Yeah, you're from Pennsylvania, aren't you?
I'm from Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Well, it says down. I have no idea where this came. I looked down at this, and I knew you were a GM, brother. I knew you were a GM, and on my list here it says sales and marketing for Fort Lauderdale Nissan. I apologize. And so,
well, you want to correct the record,
yes,
Chris?
Tell us where you're a GM.
No, we just opened up Allentown Kia in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Awesome.
Great store. It's from the start. But I want to go back to Miss Briggs' question here that you were having about the BDCs. I think that with the salespeople, I think that creates a culture in the entire dealership. If you can train BDC reps with salespeople, it's almost a perfect storm. You should absolutely, if a salesperson is taking a phone call, making a phone call, I mean, even just meeting a customer, if they don't have the skills to be able to do that on the phone, what's the point? What are the managers doing? And that I agree 100% with you on that. It's got to be a culture in the dealership. And again, it's generalized a little bit because it depends on the size of the dealership. I think the platform, in my personal opinion, from my experience, the platform for internet leads and social media and all that stuff coming in, yes, gets handled by the BDC. They got to be on the ball. They got to get the stuff rolling. But that's not an excuse for a salesperson to sit out front and hang out and wait for that magical up bus that we all joke about to pull up. They got to be out working the phone, figuring out how to do it. And how great is it if you can have the BDC working side by side with every salesperson? I mean, that creates the perfect storm and the best environment that you could possibly have.
Let me ask you this then, Chris. If I know we talk about salespeople having the skill set to do what BDC people should be doing, is it that? I mean, are we talking about the same people that? I mean, are they cut from the same cloth? In other words, like salespeople aren't, necessarily phone BDC. Like salespeople aren't necessarily making 300 calls a day. A salesperson.
Well, I hope that 300 calls a day question comes up later in this BDC conversation, because I'd like to touch base on that as well. But no, cut from the same cloth. Listen, sales is sales. Whether you're selling a car to somebody that is in front of you or you're selling it to them on the phone, I've worked with people that were in their 60s, that have been in their early 70s, that have been in their 20s. And in their 20s, 60s, and 70s, they couldn't handle this or fathom, like, oh, man, I have to pick the phone up and I have to do this. But it was an excuse. If they're properly trained, they can absolutely 100% accomplish it. And that goes to really just, do you show up to your job to do 110%, or do you show up to your job to have excuses so that you can do 50%? I really don't fall into that whole cut from the cloth theory.
Ricky Lopez, I'm gonna let you jump in here. I mean, you know, you've built BDCs, you've worked with them, you've been in the car business. You were in the car business prior to there being a BDC, and we didn't have this discussion. I mean, you firsthand. I mean, and you've been at independent, or independent franchise stores or individual franchise stores. You've been with groups. You've seen it on all sides. Okay, so you see the issue here, man, on both sides. What are we really dealing with here? Because I mean, let's just face it. I mean, none of us are arguing with the fact that people are shopping online and people are starting their process there and they're going to reach out to the dealership by the phone. But how many times have you, Ricky, heard, different types of ghost calls and mystery shopping calls where people have called into a dealership asking questions? I'm talking like, hey, I'm looking for an F-150 and do you have any on the lot? And then, or do you have a 2008, or what have you? And then all of a sudden, instead of, what you would do, getting that person in the dealership and trying to get a buyer maybe into something you don't have, or something that they may not have thought they wanted, but something you have, they're telling them, nah, we don't have that, or hey, let me check and have someone call you back. They handle the whole deal wrong. I mean, so we're not only dealing with should salespeople be handling, I think some of the people that we're training, don't know how to handle a phone call to begin with, and they're sending the person down the road and TOing it to their neighbor. I mean, what do you think about that?
Well, here's something to start it off with. Come into your market and taking your market share soon. This is what's going to happen if you guys keep thinking your managers and your salespeople are going to follow up with internet leads. The last 2 months, we built a dealership that all they have, we took the sales calls and the internet leads away from the salespeople. At first, they were upset. Now they're happy because this department is setting up 348 appointments a week, selling over 350 cars a month. These and every lead gets followed up with, every call gets taken care of, and we keep doing this for the last 10 years, and we'll be here 10 years from now talking about the same thing about managers and salespeople. Like I said before, you want to build a good dealership, build a good, and I don't even call it BDC anymore. I call it GRC, which is Guest Relations Center. Okay? And if you want to keep killing your dealership, keep doing it the same way you're doing it. You need to, get rid of all these old sales guys and build your dealership around your GRC center, which means a couple of months from now, you start seeing who your stars are in there and train them into salespeople. And then you keep rehiring, and then 6 months from now you have a good sales force that's all internet, because we keep thinking that only a percentage of people are coming in, from the internet. It's not a percentage; it's 100%. Everybody goes on the internet, and we still have these old car guys in there that come in and we don't have that car anymore, and they don't even ask them the perfect question: are you here to see the vehicle you saw online? And that's the thing. I mean, but like I said, if we don't change our culture, what's going to happen is those of you are going to stay where you're at, and you're going to lose more and more market share. And we know, because we went in this dealership, we went from number 4 to number 1 in that state in 2 months.
Let me ask you guys this. We're talking about some accountability issues and how to overcome them within the BDC. I was looking at a couple things, and one of the points was if there was no BDC, the process is simplified. Salespeople reach out to customers, managers hold them accountable. We were also I also saw something, in that same vein, was this salesperson, had a customer tell a BDC rep at his dealership that he never tried getting a hold of them, and he had 15 times. His manager sees that manager sees that, and he thinks he's not doing his job. So, those kind of things, happen in the course of the dealership. Are there accountability issues because of the separation between sales and BDC, and people dropping the ball and things getting falling through the cracks, and ultimately people not getting service the way they need to? Is that how do we overcome that in this issue? Jen, if you want to take that over, or whoever wants to address that first.
That's managers.
Yeah, my question in that scenario is, if that salesperson called that customer 15 times, why wasn't it logged in the CRM?
Oh my God, the CRM
You want to hold them accountable. Either way, whatever structure is right for your store, whether you're going to go with appointment centers. Ricky, I love the guest relations center. I just tweeted that at you. That's fantastic. If you're going to go with a department like that versus cradle to grave for sales, you still have to use that piece of software to hold the department accountable, no matter which department it is. We're all a sales department. And if you are actually going to be able to follow up with those customers and those buyers and close those deals, you have to use it. I hear it all the time. Oh, my salespeople won't use the CRM. We can't do this. We can't do that. I don't trust my numbers. That's your fault as a manager. And it's okay, because nobody probably taught you how to use it. It's not your fault. Your vendors should have been helping you with that. But you need to stand up and say, hey, I pay you this much money every single month. Make us rock with this software. Make us more profitable and help us get more car deals. But you, as a manager, a GM, or a dealer principal, you have to make the commitment to make that the nucleus of your dealership.
You know who the worst employee in your dealership is using the CRM? The managers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I mean, the managers I agree 100% on that. I'll touch base on this. The managers look at it as an accountability. Well, one, it's a little bit more work for them, and we know managers sometimes want to hang back. I don't want to generalize, but they want to hang back a little bit. But then also it's closing ratios and this and that. I mean, CRMs are what they are, depending on which one you use. I don't want to throw out now what one that we use, but the one that we use, it tracks everything. And for a manager to not be able to manage his people because he doesn't have it in the system, it just doesn't make any sense. Now, I want to kind of go back real quick, if I can, to Ms. Briggs here. That, were you saying that salespeople? All right, so the internet sales manager or sales consultant is saying that the salesperson was making phone calls, just not logging them in the CRM. Am I correct with that?
I think Tommy's analogy was that the BDC claims they never called, and the salesperson says I did call.
Right.
Is that right?
Yeah, that was the scenario. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a whole broken process in itself. And again, every topic that you guys talk about weekly, and I listen to your show, and I'm excited to be here, and I listen to Miss Briggs talk on and on. I'm sure she'll be tweeting me later, all kinds of crazy stuff. But
they make you feel old, Jennifer? Being called Miss Briggs.
Everything, listen,
Miss Briggs.
Everything is a simple process, and that's what it is. It's people, process, and product, just like Marcus Lamona says. And you have to use everything the way that it has to work. If you're working in an environment, whether you're general manager, general sales manager, used car manager, sales manager, and you don't have your areas of responsibility list, and your BDC is over and up, so you can't see my hands, but over upstairs, and downstairs there's 12 to 20 salespeople, and nobody's communicating, and they're bombarding these customers with phone calls all day long. You got a broken process right there. So they shouldn't be arguing about who called who when. They should be the GM should be arguing with the manager. Why isn't he following a process that should be put in place?
Yeah, Kevin Campbell said it's not, if it's not in the CRM, it didn't happen.
Yeah, and a couple other things here. Calvin Pierce said, I'm 56, and 25% of my sales to date come off of social media, and it continues to grow. Jeff Collins answered a question earlier that someone had brought up and he's like a statistician. He does this all the time, so I trust him. I mean, it might be from the Book of Collins, but anyway, the answer to the question of how many calls a salesperson on average makes a day is 10, according to Jeff. Gus, I want to go to you because actually I could be converted, and I'm not, and again, I'm biased, but based on my comment earlier, it seemed like I was leaning towards, and I probably did lean towards a cradle to grave. But after hearing Ricky Lopez, what he just said, now see that turned me on a little bit because that's the way I build business here. But see the problem, and I love it. What Ricky said, and I'm kind of throw this out there. Gus, I'll go to you because it's been a while since you've commented. But what Ricky said basically was,
you talking about taking the leads away from people? You're talking about that?
No. I'm talking about what he said earlier when he said that with the dealership that's gone to number one there in the state, what they've done is created basically just an explosive center where it's not just a few people here and there, making some calls and calling it a BDC. It's like the green room, Ricky, that used to be at Greenway in Orlando. They're like freaking beasts. And everything goes there, and then they take these leads and they generate tons of appointments so that every salesperson is so busy they can't almost work unless it's an appointment. Now, see, that concept works, but what does that concept take? It takes management through the roof, because the bottom line is it's a beast, it's a machine. So I freaking love that. So Gus, if that were what we could all do, man, let me tell you something. That would be no one could argue with that, because the amount of appointments that you'd have you'd put everybody around you out of business unless they did the same thing. Gus.
Right. So in the BDC, everybody's got to be drinking the Kool-Aid. If you have managers. A manager, by definition, does what? Manage. He's not necessarily the one that's going to be pounding on the phone. Yes, he has to be that rock star. He has to be able to take that call and take it all the way home, set the example, and train with the team so they can see, oh, I saw how Gus did it. Yeah, hey, I can do that too. But everybody's got to be drinking the Kool-Aid, and success is a planned event. Everybody in here knows that.
I like Kool-Aid.
So there's no way that a salesperson, just on floor-ups alone, not working the BDC is going to be successful. That guy has to have, I don't know, an hour 45, where they're going to be in BDC, make the follow-up calls, plan the appointments. Don't forget about CSI stuff. How important is that? When are they going to make those calls if they don't have that time blocked out? So, Ricky, I dig what you're doing. The guest relationship center is awesome. Briggs, you're on point. Chris, the same thing. But managers manage. They need to be, yes, they're going to be your rock star guys. And the reason why they lay back is because your MVP, you don't want him running all the time. You want this guy to be fresh, so when it's time to go in, he performs and comes out. So I do believe in a BDC center. I believe it's got to be manned by sales people who are following a sales pro, like a manager that knows what he's doing, not a one that sits back and bark. Man, I'm out on that stuff. I had a lot of those when I was growing up, and they all sucked. Yeah. When I became, I'm a big Traver dog. I don't know if y'all remember Traver Technologies, but man, I drank their Kool-Aid because that was all I had to live by. So, I learned that you stand by something, or you'll fall for anything. So I stand by the BDC, man. I stand by everybody making calls, planning out, blocking out an hour of time to make the phone calls, and then hit the floor again. Otherwise, the same thing goes. You don't want a salesperson taking ups all the time. Give him that room to plan his next day,
Gus, I like your affinity with Kool-Aid, man. I tell you, I'm waiting for a big fat guy to come bust out of the bust out of the side of a wall there. I haven't had Kool-Aid in a minute. I'm thinking about getting some, sending my assistant and get some Kool-Aid right now. How about
you know what? Actually, Kevin Campbell, I'm gonna give him a shout out again. He said they don't call it the BDC. He said we call it the ATM room because it's where you go to get the money.
Look at Kevin.
There you go.
You like that? Kevin said that. Kevin Campbell. He's with Sandy Sansing Automotive, and I know he's.
Good job, Kevin.
Jen, what do you think, Jen? Jen, you and Ricky, I'll let you guys go back and forth on this one for a second, then Chris and Gus can weigh in. What about, we have our friend Alan on all the time, and he talks a lot, and he got into another heated discussion, a year ago or so with Jerry Tebow, Phone Ninjas. And one of the things they discuss, and I think this is relevant to the whole BDC thing, because you could throw something out there, but if it doesn't work, you and I both know, I don't care what way you go, if it doesn't work, typically people stop doing it, or it becomes weaker than puppy pee, and they might as well stop doing it. So my question would be call monitoring, or how, the quality control, who does that? Does a manager do that? Do we leave that to an offsite company? Is there a mixture? How accountable should we be as managers and with monitoring the calls to know that quality is being handled right?
Okay, so here's what I think about that.
Okay.
I think that the manager should be accountable, but let me preface this by saying I don't think we've trained our managers how to actually manage those things that will make the dealership money. A sales manager, you ask 10 of them, 9 of them will have no clue how the call quality and the training of their sales staff on the phone actually affects their wallet. So a sales manager should be accountable for it, but we did not teach them that. We took that top sales guy who's selling 30 cars a month, and we said, you know what, we're going to fire Rick here, not you, Ricky, the other one. He's fired, and we're going to make Bob the new sales manager because Bob can sell 30 cars a month. Bob, here you go. Make everybody else do the same thing. We never taught them. So again, and it's not that I don't want to be in the middle, it's just that it depends on your store. If you have a large group and you got the resources, or it's too much, get somebody in there. I don't care who listens to those phone calls. I'm just going to say that. Somebody needs to be listening to the phone calls, and somebody needs to be coaching the team, and you as a dealer need to have a commitment to excellence on the phone, no matter what way you accomplish it, internal or external. If you are not good on the phone, you might as well just give it up. Because even if you have a BDC, who's making the outbound calls for the sales rep? You taking those away from them too?
Yes, we did.
It's a good
We
point.
took those away as well.
Ricky?
What we did is I'm sorry. So here, the GRC manager and the sales manager are different. The sales managers manage and they pencil deals and they watch their staff. The GRC manager, what they do is they listen to phone calls, look over emails to make sure everything has been answered. And to your question, Jennifer, what we did is when we started getting so successful with the GRC center, they only followed up for the first 3 days. And then we had the salespeople go into the pool and follow on these leads. Well, we figured out that didn't work. So what we did is we hired a long-term team that follows up from the 4th day until it dies. So now what you do is you have your rock stars following up on the first 3 days of that lead. And then after the 4th day, it goes to this team that's a good team, but it's not a rock star team. And so, as long as we continue to give the managers the responsibility to listen to phone calls, which they're not going to do because they're too busy trying to work deals, trying to get numbers, and they're not going to do that. I mean, every store that I either mystery shop or go into, the first thing I do is I listen to the phone calls. They're atrocious. The way, unless they have a BDC center, nobody's calling these people up. I mean, they call them one time, and if it's hot, then they stay with it. If they don't get an answer, guess where that goes to? It goes to the dealership down the street because that's the way it is. And we still haven't figured that one out because we keep hiring different people to train, and we train our salespeople because we've got a lot of good trainers out there. And I agree with you. David Kane's awesome, But what happens is we train these salespeople, and then once the trainer leaves, the guy goes to the desk and goes, "Hey, I got this in here. Was he here? Get him in." So all that training that we spend money on just went down the drain because the guy most important in the dealership tells them, "Don't worry about that guy. Just get the guy in. Forget about the trainer. He's not here." And if you guys don't think that's happening, believe me, I see it every day. And as far as if you don't have a BDC, our source one. I mean, we just opened one that's bilingual one because we got so many bilingual leads. So when the dealership first starts off and they can't get there, well, they use us until we go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Alan Rammond just weighed in on Twitter. He said if your managers don't have time, in quotes, to listen to your sales calls, they probably shouldn't be your managers. Anybody want to weigh in on that?
You missed part of it. He said if your managers don't have time, if your managers don't have time, he actually ended that with, Jennifer Briggs. Because Jennifer, because I think that was based on your answer. I'm just kidding. I think it was based on your answer just now. I think you got Alan's blood pressure shot up because you said something like about them being, they were so big or something like that, have somebody monitor it. I was thinking that, but for sake of time, I didn't bring it. But you were saying if it's so big, you may not have time to monitor all of it, but but if you hire somebody, have someone listen to it. And my thought was, but I knew it would enter into a whole nother dimension of time. But
which we don't have.
Somebody monitor it, but what if that person sucks? You know what I mean? Like, what if that person's not doing it?
I understand what Alan is saying.
Right.
I understand what he's saying, but what I'm saying as a dealer, I agree. But a lot of dealers, and Alan and I have talked about this before, where that's a picture-perfect world, right? Let them go, get somebody who's actually going to do it. But again, back to culture, if we as the directors or the GMs or the dealer principals are not managing the managers to make them do it, then they're not going to. So
Right.
I agree with Alan.
Hey, Chris. You and Gus, real quick. I want to give you guys. We got to close in about 5 minutes. I'm gonna give you guys this, just that you guys can comment on this. But I want to throw something out there real quick because it's just something we've done here with our sales and in our BDC. It's something I've recently subscribed to, and it goes along with this. And I think that it's worth saying because, listen, I'm a sales person and I've trained salespeople for 21 years, and I'm gonna tell you this has plagued me. Okay. Why some people in inside sales and BDC, that's sales, right? I mean, that's what it is. Why they don't make it, or why can't everyone make it, or more make it. So Here's three things I think, and two of them we've got down, but I'm gonna challenge us to think this, and I'm gonna let Chris and Gus weigh in on this and give us some closing remarks, and then we'll give Ricky and Jennifer their closing remarks. I think the third one will cause the first two not to even matter. So let me give you the first one. The first one I think is training. Okay. And I think the training, and listen, we come in, I have our guys, we have a training platform here that we do, and we sell to non-dealers. I mean, it's general training. I mean, we have companies all over using it that are not automotive majority. My guys come in, they sell dealerships. Okay. And they get on and they train for 20 minutes every morning on this platform. Number one. But then, and we do, we do meetings and things like that. Training to me is group. Okay. Then the number two thing is coaching. Training points the direction. Coaching will tell you how to get there, and I think coaching is important. And coaching is like this one-on-one. We can pull them aside. Hey, listen, I've been listening to you. You suck. You do this or whatever it is. You need to change this. So you coach them. Or, hey, good job. Do that more. But listen to this. This is the one I wasn't doing here, and now we are. And it sucks. My managers don't really like it. Not only monitoring calls, but recording calls and letting the guys listen to themselves on the phone. Because we've told them to a blue in the face, hey, stop saying that. Stop saying that. But I want to know this. I want to know what they're hearing. I want to know how they're overcoming an objection. And I don't want to know what they tell me they're saying. I want to hear what they're saying. See, because if I do enough training to somebody and then I go, hey, what are you saying? And they're going to give me the answer they heard in training, not what they're doing. And if they hear their calls, guess what? And we're starting to do this. They realize how bad they suck. I don't know if you've ever heard yourself, but when I hear myself, I'm like, man, I want to change it. So Gus, I'm going to let you and Chris, and we got to wrap up. I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes each to close out, and then we'll give Ricky and Jennifer, and it's already 4:23, and we got two more people we got to bring on. I apologize. Go ahead, Gus.
I'll jump right in. Yeah, training's super important. I'm a big advocate of training. Again, if you don't stand by something, you'll fall for anything. If you don't follow one path, a script, a guide, or something, you're not gonna make it because you're gonna be all over the place. And coaching super important. That's that well done. Ken Blanchard talks about it. That positive reinforcement, whatever they're doing right. Hey, keep it up. Proud of you. The last one, recording calls and playing up. Man, that's football. That's playing tape. You get to see you're not. You're dropping your elbow when you swing. You're not really going right when you're supposed to go right. So recording calls, playing it back, coaching one-on-one is all important. There's got to be buy-in. You can, what's the saying? You can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
That's good.
But if you give it some salt, man, it's going to get thirsty. And that coaching, training, and
there comes that Kool-Aid again.
The recording calls, get buy-in, yeah. Hashtag drink the Kool-Aid.
You were thirsty, man.
Play it safe. Give them some salt. Train them up, man. Make them ninjas so that when it's game time, they can't wait to unload the things that they've learned. But if you're not training, you're right. You're not going to have a team. You're not going to have a sales force, and you're going to suck.
That's good, Gus. Chris?
I honestly believe that training one person is also training two people. And what I mean to that is get yourself an iPad, right? Go to that BDC rep or BDC manager. Have him make that phone call, the perfect one, the one that he was trained on. Record him or her. Record him or her. Go back. When you listen to those phone calls and they're skipping a beat on them, go back, listen to that phone call with them, then play and show them how they did it the right way. Because that means they know how to do it. So it's either they know how to do it and they got jammed up, or they know how to do it and they just don't want to do it and agree with you. And listen, for me to wrap it up here with you, I got to say, nothing bothers me more than a manager that doesn't understand, whether it's a sales manager, pre-owned, GM, whoever it is, any kind of manager, even an owner. I don't care. Owners can be mad at me. Even an owner. If they don't understand, but they walk in and say, how many appointments we have today? Why aren't these people being called? Was this? You're doing this wrong. You're doing this wrong. Then they don't know how to do it. So just creating that simple process in your dealership of having every different manager record and on an iPad, go back, sit down. That's training them as well. Okay, because listen, anybody can listen to a phone call and say, hey, you're doing it wrong, because this is what the guy that we paid a couple $1,000s to said you're supposed to do it. Learn your environment. We're family. We spend more time at the dealership than we do with our own personal family. And you'll see my little book and blog that I'm going to have about BDCs out. And I'm going to put Briggs in her place one day. I promise you that.
Oh, bring it.
There you go.
And she's tough, man. I would recommend highly not recommend.
I'm a big fan. She's awesome.
She is.
Yeah. And Jennifer, you want to punch him in the face back, or
No, I don't want to punch him in the face. I
meant
enjoy that.
verbally punch him in the face.
No. I welcome that because
like,
that means that he. Yeah, well, that means that he's going to dig in, and that means that there's one more dealer out there that's taking this seriously. And that's all I want them to do is take a look internally at what's happening and what's costing them money. I mean, we make money in this industry just to spite ourselves. We are leaving so much on the table because we don't have the right people or process. Regardless of what department they're in or where you put them or what you call them, it's all people and process. So here's the one thing that I think that we need to pay attention to, and we talk about BDCs, we talk about scripts and phone training and all of this. I challenge each and every single one of you to think about this. What is the point of a script? The point of a script is to control the conversation, collect information, and set an appointment for them to come into the dealership. So I challenge you to say that you're coaching on skills, not scripts. Because I think that everyone's unique voice and personality, that's part of what we're selling too. I always fill off cards, but I always collect the information, control the call, and set the appointment. Sell yourself and your dealership. As long as your appointment's set, shown, and sold goes up, it's okay if you deviate from the script a little bit. Right. But if you can't control it, collect, and do what you need to do, stick to the card. I hate saying stick to the card. Make it sound like you, not a robot, and you'll crush it.
Absolutely.
Guide. That's right.
You should have seen that guy behind you, Jen, that walked back behind you. We were laughing because there was a guy that walked out of that door and he didn't want to be on camera, and he literally bolted. Like he was like, it was kind of funny.
And it wasn't, and that just started. And that's all I needed to get the stupid giggles. And I spit up my water. Nothing you said was amusing. It was what was happening behind you.
Did you see his Pikachu hat? Because that's my 9-year-old. He's walking in the office with his little Pikachu hat.
Was that who it was?
Respect for the Pikachu hat.
Oh, I couldn't tell. They didn't want to be on camera. Whoever it was, it's like, boom, they just went by.
The Pikachu hat.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Ricky Lopez.
Yes, sir. Training, I agree with all you guys. Training is a big key. The thing is though, if you're going to waste your money on training, make sure the trainer's there for a week and he follows up the following month for another week and do it 4 to 6 months, because you're never going to train somebody for 3 days or 2 days. And I don't care who your name is and who you are. Nobody can know what's going on in a dealership in 2 and 3 days.
That's good.
So if you're going to spend money in training, spend it. I mean, a week at a time for 6 months. And I guarantee you will turn that dealership around.
Well said. Let me ask you guys this, man. I'm serious. I think this is, we do the BDC boardroom at least every couple of months, like once a quarter. I'd like to have the four of you guys back on together again. I just think it was a really good panel, and I think you guys have more to say. We have a lot of questions we couldn't get to. Would you guys be open to coming back, and I can get our guys to reach out to you? Would you guys come back on together?
Of course.
Awesome.
Only if Alan joins us.
Alan.
Yes, where is Alan?
I'm pretty sure Alan.
Yeah, we need him on this panel.
Alan literally wanted to get on so bad. I think I saw his face come out of my iPhone here. He was like, reaching out there. I mean, he wanted to get on. He wanted to get on at one point, but yeah, we definitely have Alan on too. But thank you guys so much for joining us, and appreciate all your input. Great
Thanks for having us.
I'll bring the Kool-Aid next time.
Yes, bring the Kool-Aid.
Kiwi strawberry, please.
Yes, sir.
Gus, thank you.
Hey, make sure you follow these guys on social media: Chris Bennett, Jennifer Briggs, Ricky Lopez, and Gus DeLeon. And make sure, Mike, that we tweet out, copy all of them on any tweets or any social media, so they know where to follow them. Thank you guys so much. Hey, we're going to jump in. We still are not finished. We got another 10 minutes or so, and you don't want to miss this. We're going to jump in with a couple of pros here. They're going to be Skyping in, Mike. Okay, so just give me the thumbs up when we go, Tommy. The next up here in just a minute, we're going to have Matt Woods and Tony D on from the service group. This is a dynamic group. These guys are F&I giants, and I want to kind of we're going to spend a few minutes talking to them and looking forward to that. So just give me the thumbs up. These guys are great. I really want Kool-Aid.
Yeah, you know what?
Great Kool-Aid.
What a great sales guy that he mentions it 3 or 4 times. It's like a Big Mac commercial. After seeing it for like 30 seconds, you're like, well, I think I don't mind having fancy at a Big Mac. So I say, Kool-Aid 3 or 4 times, and me and Dave
Yeah,
were sitting
man,
over
pretty soon
salivating.
he was like, well, you know, I'll tell you guys.
He gets the measuring cup. He's putting in a cup of sugar.
He's like, you know.
And I drank the Kool-Aid a long time ago, and you know.
And he's like, what do you think about BDC Guts? He's like,
oh
yeah, yeah. Let me tell you something. I busted through the wall of a BDC a long time ago. Kool-Aid. Come on, somebody. How about this?
On the horizon. Let's
how about a book, Mike? We're gonna an autograph book to the best #Auto Dealer Live tweet with a Kool-Aid picture in it. The best one. It's got to be like oh yeah, great. Okay, some sort of cool Kool-Aid pick. Find it out there. #Auto Dealer Live. We're gonna get a signed book to whoever has the best tweet. You guys can pick it. All right. And give me the thumbs up when we're ready to roll.
Let's keep it clean too. It's a family show, please. Thank you. Let's yeah, we didn't get to half the stuff we could have with that panel.
No, because because it's the truth of the matter is there's so much content in the basic discussions that are on the surface of the BDC and just the general. We got to A because a lot of dealers struggle with everything within A. So, a lot of times B, C, D, which we could ask on the questions for some panelists like the ones we had on that have been there, that have done some things. Some of the people that are listening, are struggling, Tommy, with really not even getting into the depth of that yet. So there's so much there that centers around it, I think, that we didn't even scratch the surface.
Well, I think, too, I think the BDC has, because when I started with this company, with our IPD 7 years ago, a BDC was not very commonplace in the dealership. So when we promoted ourselves as having a call center with our mail piece, people were very interested because they knew there was a benefit to it. There was so much been putting it together, and obviously from what you're hearing, managing it, the cost, the facilitation of it. But I think what's happened, in the last couple of years, I think there's been a shift, and I think there's more, more general car.
You can go ahead and introduce.
Yeah, there's more car people, for lack of a better way to put it, people who are in the sales side of things who have taken over those roles. And I think what you're having now is very, very strong BDC departments that are just an extension of the sales department, just happen to be doing it a little bit different or doing it on the phone. So, yeah. Anyway, so we're good to go. We're back. We're back with we got Matt Woods. We got
next up.
Oh, the next up is of course the next up.
You didn't say the next up, man.
I didn't say the next up.
No, you said we're back with the we're back.
I didn't say the next up.
No, you
I didn't say that logo right there that says the next up. I didn't say that.
You didn't say the next up.
Okay, well, and then let me say it. The next up is
all right.
Matt Woods and Tony D up in the place to be with Service Group. Look at those guys. Look, they got a nice little setup.
That's
over there.
strong,
what's up, guys?
man.
We knew we couldn't come on the show without being like you guys and have some swag up here.
And you guys look sharp,
idea.
brother.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. Good
come
fun.
on, baby.
Is that a space shuttle?
No, that's a Thunderbird F-16.
Well, that would have been my second guess, but from here it looks like a space shuttle. I'm like 10 feet away. All right, well, that's good. How you doing, gents?
Thunderbirds. Doing well. We're doing good. How are y'all doing?
Doing wonderful, man. Doing absolutely great. We just got off of I'm sure you guys heard a little bit of it, and we're a little behind the 8 ball on time with you guys. So I apologize about that. But man, you guys are freaking slaying it, man. Everywhere we look, everything you hear about the Service Group and about what you guys are doing, the word that comes to mind and that's said often is excellence. Just top-notch, top-shelf excellence. And so let me ask first, before anything else, man, how important – you guys have both been in the auto business for quite a long time, and now you're servicing dealerships. How important is excellence, when you're taking money from dealerships and you're trying to help them, move the needle? How important is a simple word, man, excellence? Matt?
I'll jump in here. I don't like the word perfection because perfection is completely impossible to reach. You're never going to be absolutely perfect. But excellence is something that you can constantly push the needle. You can constantly push what you're doing to be more relevant, more relevant to the audience, more relevant to your dealers. And if you're constantly striving to be excellent, it doesn't matter if someone behind you, it doesn't matter if your closest competitor behind you goes backwards. You're still looking forwards to improve your game, instead of looking behind you saying, hey, I just want to stay in the lead. If the guy in second place gets a little worse, then I can relax and still stay in the lead. That's not our mentality. That's part of how we continue to achieve what we have since 1969 in the F&I space and in the training and development space, it's been a more recent huge shift to really improve the way that we do that. But I mean, that's off the top of my head, my first thoughts. What do you think?
Excellence is all about the individual people, the processes, and more importantly, the discipline. When somebody has the discipline to be able to go out and execute the processes in the store, whether it's sales, F&I, sales management, BDC, just like everybody was just talking about, it is what achieves the excellence, and that's something that we try to instill into all of our people, not only here at Service Group, our people in the field, our training and development folks, but more importantly to the people that there in the stores.
Absolutely. Well, you guys are doing it with excellence. Let me ask you, Matt and Tony, you could, again, both you guys can answer this, but Matt, before we get into, I want to find out what's really hot and what's on the the horizon with you guys. But let me ask you a question, man. Tony was at a digital dealer. He was part of this panel, but I got to ask this because I've had some dealers since the show, Tony, where you were on, where we had the debate on
hybrid,
elimination of the box and things like that. I've had some dealers ask me a lot of feedback, and we were going to do this on the next F&I panel. But I want to ask you guys this: some of the dealers are like, "Well, how am I going to make money?" In an age of transparency, in an age where the True Cars and the companies like this are they're partnering with the dealers and they're providing leads, and I think they're over that hump of liking TrueCar and embracing it. But in a place of transparency where a lot of times my salesmen are already getting mini deals, my dealership is possibly making less gross. How can I remove something that's making me so much money? It's one of my profit sources. That's what I'm hearing. And how do you address that? One of you guys want to take that? How would you answer the dealers? And I'm not saying you guys are proponents of that, but how would you answer the dealers that are asking that, man? When their fear is the change that's coming in the F&I, or maybe is here in some way.
The first thing I'll say on this, and I'll let Tony answer this even a little more deeply, because this has been a pet project of his for a long time, and I think any of you on the call know that. Mm-hmm. But we're not advocating eliminating the box. Mm-hmm. It's not an elimination of a profit center. It's an evolution of a profit center because customers have evolved. I'll be honest with you, almost a year ago, I bought a beautiful, new, used vehicle. I never set foot in the dealership. That was not my intention. It just so happened. We're in Austin. It was a dealer of ours in San Antonio. They just happened to have it on their pre-owned lot. It was a year old. We did everything online, over the phone, because they made it so easy. Mm-hmm. They still made money because we still bought stuff. It's not an elimination. It's an evolution of how we do business. Why don't you jump in?
When we look at the dealership as a whole, especially you brought up transparency, the amount of information available to a customer, what we're seeing, especially very forward-thinking dealers and even some dealers in some of the top 20 groups, they're diversifying where they're making their profitability. It used to be make all the money on the front, make the money on the front, hold money on the trade. We're going to make it in used cars. We're going to make it in F&I. And different dealerships had different thought processes. Well, what we're seeing again, very forward-thinking dealers, people moving up in their 20 group, they're making a little bit more money across the board. Overall gross profitability can still be high, but as opposed to making it all on the front, all on the trade, or all in F&I, it's spread across all the different avenues. And the way that I look at it is, and Matt's a big sports fan, and he keeps trying to drag me into sports. I do auto racing. I got my Michael Schumacher.
As long as it goes fast, Tony's in.
I'm in. The money, or the movie Moneyball, and the goal of the movie, or the goal of the A's that year, was just to get on base, not just hit a home run. Too many dealers still focus in on the home run. We focus, and especially, and again, this isn't for every dealership, but focusing on just getting a single every time, where I can make a little bit of money on the front, I can make a little bit of money on the back, and when we start looking at the overall profitability, we're all over it. So it's a little bit into the diversification of the portfolio of profitability across the board. Let's make a little bit of money on the front. Some dealerships are really looking at what they're going to be able to make on the vehicle that they're trading in, minus reconditioning. A lot of dealers are even looking into what type of profitability they're going to be able to spread into fixed ops because of the recon on the trade. But when it comes to F&I, it's making a little bit on a lot of products. And from a dealership point of view, or a dealer point of view, look at the long-term investment available here. to the dealer, yeah, they want to be able to make some money on a service contract. We'll just pick that product. Okay, try to make $1,500. That would be great. But if I can double my production in service contract penetration, but only make $800, okay, the net might be the same on the front. But look at the long-term profitability for the dealer as a whole. If they do risk transfer, they do reinsurance or anything like that, look at what it can do for the dealer as a whole. More importantly, everybody can still be paid in the dealership, salespeople, sales managers, business managers. It's just more of a diversification. So, like
Tony,
we talked about numerous.
Hey, Tony, let me ask you this. I mean, because we have our listeners are tweeting in. Somebody tweeted in how to make money in a one-person selling model? ? Said eliminate the $600,000 personnel cost of F&I. That's too far, though. I mean, in other words, I mean, what do you think about that? I'll give you a chance to address it because I mean, there's dealers listening right now, and you guys are obviously an incredible group, and talk about that.
Well, the profitability is still there. I'm not eliminating out all the positions.
Right.
The F&I person all of a sudden just kind of changes up what their primary function is. So they're not seeing 100% of the customers. They're seeing maybe 50% of the customers or 30, 40% of the customers. So the business manager is still instrumental in all of this. They still need to get the deals done. We get them approved. We still have to have the relationship with the finance companies. One of the things that we talked about at DD was, what about secondary finance? I still need a highly talented individual who knows the finance companies, knows the structures, knows the lending guidelines of each individual finance company, and how to be able to position and structure deals to be able to get them approved to increase profitability, be able to sell those customers vehicles, reduce the fee involved in those type of deals. I still need somebody. So even in some hybrid processes, going to it 100% across the board.
Because, hey, Tony, one of the things you just said, I hear this a lot from dealers and, that we call on. If somebody doesn't, if we're trying to sell like maybe a credit recovery program, secondary, or even maybe a step up from a secondary, maybe the credit recovery, they're in between. A dealer sometimes will not go that direction, and they'll say something like this, and it baffles me. They'll be in a similar market to a client that does $750,000 in secondary business a month, and then they'll be in a similar market, and they don't even have a secondary department because they'll say something like, "We really don't mess a lot. We don't really mess around with that a lot." What they're really saying, I've been doing this 20 years, is I don't have anybody that right?
Or they don't know how.
Right.
I
don't have that person.
A few years ago, I spoke at NADA, and the title of my workshop was F&I is not a credit score. And we have an entire generation of people who grew up in the automotive industry who relied on a 3-digit credit score to tell the people if they could buy, what their rate would be if they were primary or secondary. Well, after especially 2008, it was the old school business managers who were able to elevate some dealerships. And today, we still need some talented individuals, but it's a skill that can be taught. We actually teach it in our Series 2 F&I school. We'll actually be teaching some of these skills in our dealership development summits that are going to be going around the country very soon, about how to look into credit deeper than just a credit score. Look for the good, identify the bad, but also on how to structure a deal. We know that Ford's going to finance a new Ford vehicle faster than a pre-owned. So I may need to submit the deal on a different vehicle and switch it a little bit later. These are some old school techniques that, granted, you just said, a lot of people don't have the people to do it because nobody knows how to do it. Nobody trains that. We do. We teach it in our series.
They're leaving money on the table. If you think about it, if you want to, if you want to improve you want to improve your business and grow it. There's only so much primary business out there. I'm not really sure. You guys probably know the statistics, but I would imagine that there's a very high percentage of Americans that have credit issues.
Not me.
What are
you talking about?
But what are you going to do? You're going to, eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually you're going to have to go into that market and know how to deal with it. And I think, So I mean, Tony, you said something in Orlando that stuck with me too, and it confirmed what I hear and know, and that about stips, and it takes that special person that's going to chase those stips, or maybe gather the stips, or know how to deal with the banks to build a relationship, and it's when you have that person, they almost put them up on a pedestal, and it's like, hey, I got this subprime guy, you know what I'm saying? It's like, right. But why is that limited to like 1 out of every 100 dealers or whatever,
Well, let me chime in here for just a second and go back, recircling this hybrid issue.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be very clear. This is not something that's for every dealer. Mm-hmm. Some dealers have such a smooth operation in handing the deal from the sales desk to the F&I department because they've been communicating well and working well for a long time.
And they have a good solid process that works.
The process is the key. But what is a viable next step for every F&I office, every sales office, is to start. I'm holding up an iPad here. It's just a black screen, but this is the key. Because in the hybrid process, this is one of the keys. I know the Sonic stores have tried this, and several of them with some great success, and I was actually had a privilege to go see some of them, and all of their people had this, and they communicated with a customer like this. Customers shop on their iPad and on their computer. If they walk into the dealership and we're still using paper for everything we do, their level of tech, their level of wow is pretty much gone. Mm-hmm. But if we're using the same technology that they're using to shop, and we're using it to help them buy, our level of intelligence goes up. Anybody that uses an iPad, people think they're intelligent, and that's not always true.
No.
Have you met some of the politicians?
I just carry one around sometimes. I carry one around sometimes.
Right.
If somebody thinks I'm smart,
That's why
I'm like,
Dave wears glasses too. He wears glasses and carries around an iPad all the time.
my glasses are real, by the way.
Well,
yeah, Subi grabbed my glasses at Digital Dealer. I think she thought they were fake, and she was like, "Dang, you're blind." I'm nearsighted. I'm blind as a bat, but I just like style, man, and I don't like putting stuff in my eyeballs. Well, but go ahead. Sorry, guys. Hi. So you were saying?
No, that's it. I mean, just the technology piece is the really that next step that we've got to begin to embrace. We're doing things to really push that envelope here, but customers shop on technology. We have to sell on technology when they come to the dealership. Their trust factor and the wow factor and the efficiency factor is going to go up.
Man, I love the fact, guys, thank you for coming on here. And I love the fact that, first of all, I love the setup in the background, man. I'd like to have you guys, I'd like to start, I kind of talked to, I can't remember if it was Tony at DD or Matt one time when I met you and you stopped by last year. I would love to have you guys on a at least a couple of every month basis, and have you have almost like a little F&I corner. You know what I mean? Like a kind of a.
I'm with it.
You know what I'm saying? Because this is really cool, man. The way you guys, because you're bringing knowledge to the table, and I think that somebody tweeted out, said, looks like a used car velocity for F&I, and so
right.
So there's some cool feedback on Twitter from dealers, and I think you guys are doing a bang up job, man.
Well, look, I'll throw out this. We're in on that because our philosophy as a training and development division and as a company as a whole goes into our motto, which is giving people the power to perform. Well, the way we do that is through training, education, and development. So anything we can do to help the auto industry improve, that's our game.
And since you brought up a little bit of F&I, and I'm kind of an F&I kind of guy, see, I even have my can of Lysol here. So here's your quick tip for the day. All business managers, F&I, every dealer, every GSM watching, go get your business manager a can of Lysol. This is a service contract close, because when a customer says that that their car that they're buying is a good car, we can go into the 99.9% close, because it says right here that Lysol kills 99.9% of the germs. And if your vehicle was as effective as Lysol, that means you'd have 16 things break on the vehicle. Let's cut that just down to 4 things that break on the vehicle. You could be looking at $4,000 worth of repair costs, as opposed to enrolling with a service contract for $21.38 and only changing your payment $26 a month. For $26 a month, even if your car was better and more effective than Lysol, wouldn't it only make sense for you to have a service contract?
You guys thought these were
I'm sold.
Nope, they're props.
Can I get 2 of them?
I'm gonna buy a can of Lysol for all my sales guys right now. Put it up on their desk, Tony.
We'll be all
I'm in. We're doing.
There you go. I need a close for Boba Fett, though. I don't have a close for Boba Fett.
We'll come up with that.
We're going next week.
That's right.
Yeah, next time.
All right, guys. Well, thank you. Hey, tell us how somebody can reach out to you guys, and thank you guys for being on.
Here, well,
Can we do it?
yeah, here.
I don't know. Can y'all see that?
There you go. Yep.
Wow, look at that.
Tony D.
What's the rest of it?
512.
542
542
1669.
1669. There you go. Matt Woods.
Matt's writing on some of the fun technology we use here at the Academy at Service Group. We got our John Madden board up there to go boom.
Matt, the globe is in front. The globe's in front of the second number there. There you go. 550-6160. Guys, Tony D, Matt Woods, man. First class, man. Love the setup. Thank you guys for being with us.
Absolutely. Yeah, have a great weekend.
You too, sir. Thank you, guys.
That was pretty cool.
That was cool.
They got a cooler setup. Why don't
That
we
was
have
cool.
a board like that?
We do have a board like that. It's my iPad with the pin.
why don't
We
we
do a
have-
freaking Monday meetings on the train
Yeah,
and train.
no, but we should probably. We don't use it here.
We can turn
I don't
around
get
and
to use
talk
it.
and write on there like that. Are you talking?
I don't get to use it.
You spit your drink out all over the studio floor. What the heck? I was like, what
it's
you
happened a few times where I keep getting like it's like I call it the giggles. Kind of what you like. I can't. It wasn't even nothing really funny happened. I saw a couple people behind her. I'm like, oh, that's kind of amusing. And I looked at you.
Yeah, I
And
wasn't
then you
doing
were
anything. I
you
was
weren't
just like,
even-
I was doing this.
And I was like,
I must have
he's
had a
probably
funny
thinking
look.
he's probably laughing inside. And then you're like, nothing happened. And then you had a little bit of smirking. I'm like, oh. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't drink any water. And I did the water thing like a.
Oh, geez.
The sad part is I knew you were laughing. I knew you were giggling. And I'm sitting there and I look over to my left and I look back and all of a sudden I see you half off camera spitting water out on my studio
What if that
floor.
got on the? Did that get on the shot?
Yes.
Sweet.
Oh, of course.
I'm pretty sure I can slow-mo that.
Let's do it.
So, Mike, we got to go. So, do me a favor
Or
before
do
we go.
we?
Yeah, we're like, well, I mean, we don't have to.
We can do
Because
whatever we
technically
want.
it's the internet, but I'm pretty sure because tweets have stopped, no one's watching.
The next up.
At this particular point, Mike, give us a 20-second plug on Just a Millennial with you and Mikey Oquendo.
Well, every week we release a new episode on the Autotainment Network, autotainmentnetwork.com. Tommy, stop it. You know what? I got an idea.
I forgot how massive I am. I'm like,
I forgot.
"Jeez,
Here.
awesome looking."
Oh, look. You're not there anymore.
Look at there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Don't you
I'm
just love it?
much more handsome. You should probably put it back on me.
Not really. But every week we release a new episode. It is Mikey and I and our take. We are two millennials. We work in the automotive industry, in the automotive space, and it is our take on different things that plague the automotive industry. One of them is, car buying from a millennial perspective. Another one we just did was everybody loves to hate us. Everybody loves to hate millennials. We are like the new edgy kids that everybody just loves
There
to
was
hate.
there was actually we actually had a question that involved
millennials.
The BDC boardroom question that actually had millennial in it. I'm like, I'm not doing it.
And
I'm
we
not
know,
doing
yeah, you hate millennials. We get it.
I don't
You're
hate
just,
millennials.
You're just the
Oh, he
grumpy.
does.
You're just the grumpy Gen Wire. We got it. It's cool.
He does. He thinks you guys are
Whatevs,
entitled.
bro. It's
All
whatevs,
right.
man.
Kevin Campbell. Thank you. Kevin Campbell. We can always depend on Kevin Campbell and Curtis Snyder there. Look at him still tweeting. That's what I'm
Still
talking
going.
about. Arnold already passed out. All right. So we're out of here, guys. Hey, thank you for listening to us, man. The next up is the Great American. Oh, check this out. We got to say something really quick. Oh, man, I wish I'd have said this earlier.
You should've said
Dadgummit.
it. Stupid.
Stupid me. Next week I can say it because it's 2 weeks from today. Check this out. Now, this is a beast. Talking about Alan Ram. Speaking of Alan Ram, he's going to be here in Tampa, Florida, April 7th. Now, listen to this, guys. April 7th, 2 weeks from today, we will be doing our show live on remote at Brandon Honda. John Marazzi, the general manager, dealer principal of Brandon Honda, will be with us. We'll be doing it live at Brandon Honda. Alan Ram is going to be there training that day, so he's going to be helping us as a third host, and we're going to be doing our show at Brandon Honda, John Marazzi, and we're going to have a couple of other dealers on as well. So that's our Great American Automotive Panel.
And
The
what's
Day
gonna-
of Reckoning,
it's
Tower Talks coming up. We got all kinds of freaking good shows.
Well, what's
coming
going to be awesome about the one with Alan Ram at Brandon Honda is that they're going to actually present me with a top of the line Honda just for they.
No, we're not.
The Honda Matchbox car. Hey, we got to
Well,
go.
whatever
I got
they
work
say.
to do. I'm here. What's up? Arnold is not passed out. He's here.
Yeah, I'm not passed out yet. I'm still here.
You spelled passed out wrong. I'm just kidding. Hey, and Candace Crane was the one, by the way, that
Candace
said.
Crane kills it.
Candace Crane said, "You want to save money in the F&I? Get rid of the $600,000 F&I expense. How about that, yo?" And then she said, "I can't type fast enough." And I think she might have broke a nail. I don't know. She was trying to type, and I could see it in the tweet that she couldn't type it fast enough. All right, hey, we got to go. We're getting flat out delirious. I've drank some of that Kool-Aid that Gus had. I don't know
Ooh,
what.
that Kool-Aid was tainted. That's some of that. What was that guy that did the Kool-Aid thing? Jim Jones. That's
Every
Jim
time we
Jones
try to
Kool-Aid.
close,
Oh,
you keep
yeah.
coming back, Tommy.
Okay, you want to close? punch you.
All right, guys. How about this? You guys can keep talking. I got work to do.
Bless you.
Because I got money on the table. I got to go get. All right, guys. Have a good day. What do you say?
Peace.
Go ahead. Boom. Oh, good shot.